United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Moines County Supervisors Board meeting on March the 4th, 2025. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Do you have any, Sarah?
I have none.
Okay. Meet with department heads and elected officials. We shall start with Sarasota County Auditor.
Good morning. It's election day, so if you have not voted, get out to your poll and do so. We had about 246 in the office, but I think 12 that have not been returned yet, so those numbers could change. So we'll get absentee counted today. So just plugging away.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Calling yours?
Good morning. Nothing really new to report, just keep busy like always.
Okay. Sheriff Glendinning.
Good morning. We swore in our new chief deputy and lieutenant yesterday. So glad to have them in those spots and moving forward. And this morning the jail was at 90. My apologies, 88 because we have 2 that are in treatment. 14 out of counting this morning, but we have about 5 heading out to prison and a few others going other places. So we hope to be, or out of county by the end of the day, should be down to around 10.
What do you mean by in treatment?
So when they're in treatment, whether it be through like the Salvation Army or ads or something along those lines, then we're still responsible for their transportation. They need to be in court. So they stay on our list, so we always deduct them from our actual inmate populations because we're not necessarily responsible for their payment, but we're responsible for treatment. So those numbers, they show up on our jail list that we go through every day and try to figure out where everybody's gonna be staying for the night, and those numbers don't actually count towards our inmate population.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we should be down to 10 by the end of the day is kind of the hope. We have several going out, like I said, and we'll see how intake pans out because it sounds like a lot of them are being held overnight. Tomorrow we have the Greater Burnley Partnership Leadership Group is gonna do a tour of the jail, and then we're gonna present to them just on some of the things that the Sheriff's Office and jail does. And we do that every year, so that's always kind of a great opportunity to get out in front of the public. And then a plug for the Burlington Strong campaign for Burlington Snow Bowl. They're raising money this year for all the canine units in Des Moines County, all 5 of them. So if you're available on Thursday night, attend Snow Bowl and purchase a shirt. It goes towards their campaign that'll be donated back to our canine units. So we certainly appreciate their support. But that's about all I got for the week.
Tom's been he'd ride one of them bulls and somebody.
Pulls a gun on me.
He could ride a bull and get bit by a canine in the same night. Can you imagine how sore he'd be the next
I
day?
think Pam might have to come back for that.
Yeah.
I can't watch that.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff.
He's got this.
How's the maintenance department?
Doing okay, nothing new to report this morning.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl, you're here for.
Agenda item.
How's the conservation, Chris?
Good. This weekend we have our next race in our trail running walking series. This one is the Woodland Warrior Run at Hunt Woods. So this is a Tough Mudder-esque run. It's an untimed kind of obstacle course kind of thing. So should be a fun one, different from anything we've done so far. So we'll probably do more of these out there throughout the course of the year and improve it each time. So come check that out. Otherwise, we are in the process of backfilling our naturalist position, and so we're not doing near as many school programs this spring as what we normally would. But it's just a staffing issue. So we're sorting through that. We've got our first round of interviews this week. So working on that.
Thank you. Janelle, Treasurer's Office?
Good morning. We're staying busy. Property taxes are definitely rolling in, mail and with customers coming in. But last Friday, it was exceptionally busy. We were lined out the door for motor vehicle all day long. So it's the end of the month, but still, people are buying apparently. So anyway, busy.
Well, I paid my taxes this morning. so
I
can
seen you
rest
in
easy now.
there earlier today.
Okay. Thank you. Angie, how's the, safety department?
We're doing good, just keeping busy, nothing new to report.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carter?
Good morning. Want to lead in by saying thanks. We had a safety meeting that got postponed and rescheduled and had a thin turnout, but Kevin was nice enough to attend personally and also had two of his deputies come, Matt and Brad. And it was, their attendance was great because a lot of the questions that came up had to do with enforcement and ways to try to make things safer. So I thought it was a good conversation. It'd been nice to have more people, but I completely understand, especially when something gets rescheduled like that. Krista was always also there. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but either way, it was, yeah, we got that taken care of, and the consultant will go on to make our plan and move on with that. So, do want to mention that we had the pre-construction meeting yesterday for the 2 asphalt jobs that we have coming up, and I guess a little bit to my surprise, but the contractor wants to get going on those right away, which right away is the tail end of March or very beginning of April. So it sounds like Highway 34's in their crosshairs first. And so it sounds like we'll see some activity out there right in that time period, and then won't be but a couple weeks after that, and they'll start up on Highway 99. And so it's gonna be a very busy spring, because straight off of that, I'll go to, we now have 2 bridges closed, which I think everybody's learning this morning, if they didn't find out about it through the releases, and some people are still learning about it even if they did hear about it, because you forget about it, of course. So I'm gonna guess this week will be kind of a frustrating learning curve for some folks, so don't hesitate to, if you guys get any calls, have them call our office, we'll give them information. But both of those bridges will be closed somewhere in the neighborhood of five months. And get those things done with and replaced, so yeah, a lot of work that's gonna be firing up. When we get closer to the date of asphalt stuff, I'll let you guys know, and if you guys get any calls and wanna see what those closures look like, or a detour type of thing or anything, let me know. I'm happy to run you guys out there, that's no problem at all. But well, the one Gear doesn't have a detour because, as everybody knows, there's so much traffic there to try to know where anybody's going. It's so close to Burlington, everybody just follows their phone anymore, and most of them will just come on into Burlington on the 4-lane instead of trying to take that route. But either way, they'll adjust. This is the 3rd time we've had that closed in the last 5 or 6 years. So I will mention that I did get a hold of the railroad, and the railroad is going to keep that crossing from being blocked with any park trains during the time frame of the project, and we've done that every year. The last 2 times we've had to close that road for projects, and so far we've never had a problem with that. It's obviously closed temporarily when a train is going through town. So that should keep emergency response access pretty regular and not have any major holdups there. So kind of an extra layer to that one, I guess. But
Brian, on that 34, they're gonna do that first. They start at the truck stop and go all the way through there?
no, not the truck stop. The city limits are west of the truck stop, roughly a quarter mile.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And it actually jogs on center line. I think the south lane city limits are a little further east than the north lane city limits, but we're just picking up from whatever the east boundary is and going west. So no, we're not coming all the way to the truck stop, because you get into the city limits, and West Burlington's been looking at their own project in that area for a while. So, but it does go through Middletown.
Yeah.
And then through Danville actually also. When we get closer to it, I'll let both of those, well, don't need to let Middletown know, but I'll let Danville know what's coming. And really the first sign of all that, I believe, the early stuff will be patching and milling. So it's gonna be pretty obvious with work starting long before asphalt actually starts going down, but
Okay,
it's
thank
coming.
you.
So, yep.
Zach, I seen you sneak in the back door there. How's the
I
regional
tried.
planning?
Things are going well, not a whole lot new, we got a subdivision that went out for review, I think yesterday. And, working on a possible rezoning request with somebody potentially, and otherwise just kind of business as usual, taking phone calls, working with a couple violations we got, trying to work through some of those, but that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
See, I didn't miss anybody. Move on to the correspondence. Do either of you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I have none. I did not.
I did neither. How about you, Sarah?
I have none.
Okay. Move on to discussion and vote. We have a resolution 2025-012. The Board of Supervisors hereby fixes the time and the place for the public hearing on the proposed property tax levy. Public hearing for Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors, Des Moines County Courthouse. Des Moines County Budget Director is hereby directed to publish the notice and estimated summary as required by law.
I move to approve the resolution setting time and date of property tax levy.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Do you have anything to add to that, Cheryl?
Just when these notices go out, the state built in a 10% increase in values across the board for all counties in the state of Iowa. Our county did not see a 10% increase, so when folks get these estimated property tax increase notices, ours is not going up 13% or anywhere near that, so we're gonna get a lot of phone calls, a lot of angry people, and it's just a made-up scenario. So, a what-if type thing, so it's not real.
It's their overcompensation from last year. Last year they said, well, your property value, your assessed value didn't increase any, so this is what you're gonna pay. And they told everybody last year you were gonna get a 14% decrease in your taxes, and everybody was happy. So this year they said, we're gonna fix that, so they just made it 10%.
So now it's gonna go the opposite direction in the notices, but
And they
that's
have,
not really what's
they have our
happening.
actual valuation just a few lines above that, so they could have used that if they wanted to, but they decided not to.
Yeah, the proposed levy rates are gonna stay the same, and the rollback for residential was only a little over a 1% increase. So I don't think people are gonna see a 13% increase like the notice is gonna show.
What is the proposed levy rate?
It's the same as current year. Do you know what?
6.81.
One change.
Yeah, that's as far as I remember to take.
Okay. Moving on, accounts payable claims for $991,216.87.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have payroll reimbursement claims in the amount of $310.02, and non-cashable tax is 0.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have an appointment for Jackson Township trustee. Des Moines County Board of Supervisors, I'm requesting your approval to be appointed to a 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2028 for Jackson Township trustee. My name is Brian Schrader.
Motion to approve the appointment. Thank Mr. Schrader.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Personnel action. We have, Christy Hay, clerk in the motor vehicle department at the treasurer's office, is a new hire at the new rate of $30,268.14 a year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sir?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Okay. And we have one for the correctional center. For Ryan Anderson, correctional officer. New hire for 77.11 hours. New rate, $48,614.40.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sir?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we have one for Danielle McLaughlin in the auditor's office. Unpaid time for 2/25, 7.5 hours. On 2/27, 7.5 hours. 2/28, 7.5 hours. Total for 22.5 hours.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we have the reports. We have the Veterans Affair report for fees collected February of 2025. These will be on file in the auditor's office for your viewing at your own discretion. Now we have the minutes for the regular meeting on February 25th, 2025.
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Sir?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Okay, is there any other business?
I had none.
I have none. Future agenda items? Hearing none. Committee reports?
I have none.
I had none.
I had a regional planning, we had getting ready for our big board meeting, so, which will be coming up, so that's about all I had, but did find out, I let you know about the cars they bought. Mike did say that it's working out real good, we figured we were gonna save quite a little bit on fuel. How do you like it, Jack, or Zach?
I just drove one yesterday for the first time. It was, it's a little different when you turn it on and there's just lights come on, but nothing else makes any noise, so.
Until you step on the gas to know that it's
You're
actually
stepping on the gas, but, it drives really nice.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Okay, public input, we'll give you 2 minutes if you're online to call in at 319-753-8203 extension 4. That's 319-753-8203 extension 4. Or email board@dmcounty.com. That's board@dmcounty.com. We'll give you 2 minutes. Meanwhile, anybody in here have anything to say?
I wanna go back to the 13%, I don't really
Okay, there's a
understand
copy
it.
of that notice
Yeah,
in here.
I can't clarify something if I don't really understand it myself.
Well, then good, because there's very few people in the state that understand it.
There should be a copy of the actual notice.
Yeah, there's 2 of them in there.
So we can look at it.
Don't forget to get out and vote today.
Yeah.
Through contest.
Yeah, it should be on that, so.
tried to work 3 different polls when you didn't let me.
I had a heart attack when I looked at it.
Yeah, don't have a heart
Yeah.
attack, cause these aren't real numbers, and this is what's gonna go out in that notice. And it says down here, there's a little disclaimer that says that they increase values by 10%. They have the real values, I don't
So
know
the
why they
state
don't
sends us
give
out-
us real numbers, but.
So this isn't generated by you, this
No,
is
this is
generated.
required by code, and it's
Okay.
House File 718.
Okay.
And so we gotta send one to every property owner in our county, and they're gonna be very confused by it because
I was.
obviously,
I had a heart attack.
yeah, don't have any heart attacks. So we had a few phone calls last year, mainly people that didn't understand why they were getting this mailing. But nobody was angry.
But total
'Cause it was
fixed
going the
taxes
other
were gonna go
direction.
down.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was showing a big decrease.
They won't be
And now
discounted.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
that's
be-
why.
Yes.
They'll call this year.
We're gonna have to bring a support dog for Cheryl, because, yeah.
Don't be angry this year.
Yes, yeah. I'll get called a few names probably.
These articles will help, I can tell you just from the road
Well,
stuff
maybe.
you guys have been putting in, people read your articles and they pay attention, because I have a
I
lot
only
of
know
calls,
if
but
I've
people
made a
want to know more.
mistake if they're reading.
Yes.
So, what are you doing with this?
So the cities
Or the
and
other
the
way, thank you for
schools
that
also
stuff.
have
It
to
could
be
be
part of
part
this
of it.
notice, so
Right.
it's gonna be real confusing.
Right.
Anyway, because it's gonna show the 3 different entities.
But appreciate it.
If they're in a township, it'll only show the school and the county. But, yeah, it's very confusing. So, it isn't really a true
I've been telling
picture
people
of
it's just
what's
the example that they have to use, they don't make it clear about that,
Yes.
but,
That's an example.
It's just an example of what if.
So when you say an example, what do you mean by what if?
Well,
What are the possible ifs in that?
I mean, they want people to be able to see that the levy rate isn't the total picture, it also has to do with value.
Okay.
So, by sending this out, it's supposed to clear up that confusion that just because the levy rate stayed the same doesn't mean your tax bill's gonna stay the same.
Okay, all
But
right.
what's happening when they just raise everybody's values by 10%, then they're skewing it the other way. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Last year, they reduced it too much, and people thought they were gonna get a big reduction, well, they didn't. This year, they're gonna think they're gonna get a big increase, and they're not going to.
So, will it be pretty much the same as this year?
On residential, the rollback went up a little over 1%, so they
Right.
will see an increase. It's not gonna be 13% or 12.55 or whatever that's showing.
If,
And I can
if
give
your
you-
valuation, if your property valuation went up 10%. In other words, so if you've got a $100,000 property, then the assessor sends it out, says your property valuation assessment has gone up 10%. Then that would work. But they went up last year an average of 11%, so everybody was unhappy, and but they went up an average of 23% across the state.
So
And
this
so
is
that's-
like an
Th-
equalization.
that-
And that
Well,
only
sort
happens
of,
on
that's
odd
the
years.
rollback, so last year they
Right.
dropped the rollback from like 54% to 46%. And so, when they sent that out last year, they just assumed that your valuation was the same. Well, you were gonna get, if you lived in Des Moines County, typically, you saw taxes lower because your assessment only went up 11%. But that isn't to say some people went up more and some people went up less. And so this year, they fixed that by just changing that from 0% to 10%.
And you wonder why people are trying to get away from property taxes.
It's confusing.
Should have been here the year Tom's taxes went down, everybody's went up.
Oh, God. They go.
Phone call after phone call.
This assessor lowered my assessment, and I didn't even know it, and my phone started ringing, everybody been yes. And my property valuation went down a little bit, and people were unhappy about that, and they thought I'd done that.
Sounds like the fix was in.
I put the fix in, I called the assessor, I said, don't ever do that.
Okay, the 2 minutes are up. Anybody got anything to say? We're out of here with an aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Janelle, I have a question for you.
Andrew, thanks for